The distress signal came through at 3 in the morning, ship time. Cole was sleeping in his bunk when the alarm pulled him awake. He was a field medic on the human exploration ship Perseverance, and distress signals were part of his job. But something about this one felt different. The signal was weak, broken, and it came from a moon that no one had ever explored before. Captain Torres gave him permission to take a shuttle down. "Be careful," she said. "We don't know what's down there." Nodded and grabbed his medical kit. 20 minutes later, he was flying through the thin atmosphere of a gray, rocky moon. The signal led him to a valley between two mountains, and there, in the dust and broken rocks, he saw it. A ship, but not a human ship. It was beautiful, even destroyed as it was. The metal was white and silver, curved in ways that human engineers never thought of. Strange symbols covered its hull, glowing faintly in the darkness. Smoke rose from a dozen holes in its body. Whatever had happened to this ship, it had happened recently. Landed his shuttle 50 meters away and stepped out into the cold air. His suit protected him from the freezing temperature, but he could still feel the chill in his bones. He walked toward the crashed ship with his medical kit in one hand and a flashlight in the other. The main door was torn open, climbed inside. The smell hit him first. Blood, but not like any blood he knew. It smelled like metal and flowers mixed together. He moved his flashlight across the dark corridor and saw bodies, aliens. They looked almost human, but not quite. Their skin was pale, almost white. Their hair was silver and black. Their eyes, the ones that were still open, were large and violet. They were all dead. Checked each body as he moved deeper into the ship. His training told him to look for survivors. His heart told him there were none, but he kept moving anyway. Then he heard it, a sound, weak and quiet but real, breathing. He followed the sound to what looked like a private room. The door was bent but not closed, pushed it open and stepped inside. A female alien lay on the floor. She was young, maybe his age in human years, though he could not be sure. Her clothes were different from the others. Rich fabric, gold threads, jewelry on her fingers and neck. Someone important, someone special. And she was dying. Silver blood pooled beneath her body. Her breathing was shallow and fast. A wound in her side leaked more silver with every heartbeat. Dropped to his knees beside her and opened his medical kit. "Hold on," he said, though he did not know if she could understand him. "I'm going to help you." He worked fast. He cleaned the wound. He tried to stop the bleeding, but nothing worked. Her blood would not clot. It just kept flowing like water from a broken pipe. His human medicine was not made for alien bodies. 2 more aliens crawled into the room. They were hurt badly, barely alive. But they saw working on the female and their eyes went wide. "Save her," one of them said. The words were broken, hard to understand, but caught their meaning. "She is heir to the ascendancy. You must save her." "I'm trying," said, "but her blood won't stop. I don't have anything that can help her." The alien grabbed his arm. "Please, she is everything. Our people need her. The galaxy needs her, please." Then the alien died. His hand fell away from his arm. His eyes closed forever. Looked at, her breathing was getting slower. She had minutes left, maybe less. He thought about everything he knew. Human medicine did not work on aliens. Alien biology was too different. Giving human blood to an alien was considered dangerous. Deadly, even. Every medical textbook said the same thing. The body would reject it. The patient would die faster. But she was dying anyway. Made a decision. It was stupid. It was against every rule he had ever learned. But he could not watch her die without trying everything. He pulled out the transfusion kit from his bag. It was meant for human-to-human blood transfer in emergencies. He had never used it on an alien. No one had. "This might kill you," he said to her unconscious face. "But you're already dying, so we're going to try something crazy." He found a vein in her arm. Her veins were different, but not too different. He could work with it. He inserted the needle into her arm, then inserted another needle into his own. The machine hummed. Blood began to flow. Red human blood moving through the tube into the body of an alien princess. For a moment, nothing happened. Then's body began to shake. Swore and held her down. Her back arched off the floor. Her silver blood seemed to fight against the red. He could see it under her pale skin, two colors swirling together like oil and water. He thought he had killed her. He thought he had made the worst mistake of his life. But then something changed. The shaking stopped, her body relaxed, and the wound on her side began to close. Watched with wide eyes, the bleeding slowed, then stopped. New skin grew over the wound, pink and healthy. Her pale face gained color. Her breathing became strong and steady. "That's impossible," he whispered. He checked her heartbeat. Strong, stronger than before, actually. Her body temperature was rising to something closer to human normal. Her silver blood was still there, but now it was mixed with red. The two colors had stopped fighting. They were working together. Hours passed, stayed by her side, watching, waiting. He gave her more of his blood when she seemed to need it. He talked to her even though she could not hear him. He told her about Earth, about his family, about the stars. Then her eyes opened. They were still violet, but now there were flecks of gold in them like tiny suns. She looked at with confusion, then understanding, then something like wonder. "You," she said, her voice was weak but clear, "you saved me." "I didn't know if it would work," admitted. "I just knew I had to try." Touched her side where the wound had been. Nothing but smooth skin remained. She looked at her hands, her arms, her body. She could feel something different inside her, something new, something powerful. "What did you do to me?" she asked. Before could answer, the sky outside lit up with lights. Ships, dozens of them. The ascendancy had come for their princess. And everything was about to change. The ascendancy ships landed in a circle around the crashed vessel. They were massive things, white and silver like the one that had fallen, but much bigger and undamaged. Soldiers poured out of them, tall aliens with weapons that glowed blue. They moved with perfect discipline, spreading across the rocky moon like a wave. Stood beside as they entered the broken ship. He expected to be arrested. He expected to be shot. A human had touched their princess, had put his blood inside her. Surely that was a crime worthy of death. But stood in front of him. She was still weak, still learning to use her changed body, but she stood tall and spoke with authority. "This human saved my life," she said. "You will not harm him." The soldiers stopped. They looked at each other with confusion. Then a new figure entered the ship. An older alien female with silver hair and cold violet eyes. She wore robes of deep purple and gold. A healer, guessed, or maybe a scientist. "Your Highness," the older alien said, "we feared the worst when we lost your signal. What happened here?" "Pirates," said. "They attacked without warning. Everyone else is dead. I would be dead too if not for him." The older alien looked at. Her eyes moved up and down his body. She did not seem impressed. "A human," she said. "How exactly did a human save the heir to the ascendancy?" Opened his mouth to explain, but spoke first. "He gave me his blood." Silence, complete and total silence. The soldiers, the healer, everyone froze. They stared at like she had said something impossible, because she had. "That cannot be," the healer said. "Human blood is toxic to our kind. It would cause immediate rejection, organ failure, death." "And yet I am standing here," said, "stronger than I was before." The healer moved closer. She pulled out a device and scanned body. The device made sounds, then more sounds. Then the healer went pale. "This is not possible," she whispered. "Your blood, it has changed. Human markers are everywhere. Iron levels far above normal. Oxygen capacity doubled. And your cells are regenerating at a rate I have never seen." "Is she sick?" asked. "Is she going to be okay?" The healer looked at him with something between fear and amazement. "She is not sick. She is the healthiest I have ever examined. Whatever you did, human, it did not poison her. It enhanced her. They took aboard the largest ship. Was brought along, though he was not sure if he was a guest or a prisoner. They gave him his own room. They brought him food and water, but guards stood outside his door at all times. Days passed. The ship traveled through space at speeds could not understand. Human ships were fast, but this was something else. Stars blurred outside his window like streaks of paint. Sometimes came to visit him. She had questions, endless questions. "Why did you do it?" she asked one night. "You did not know me, you owed me nothing. Why risk your own life to save mine?" "Thought about it. Because you were dying," he said, "and I could try to help, that was enough." "That is strange thinking," said. "Among my people we calculate costs and benefits. We measure risk against reward. No would give their blood to a stranger. The math does not work." "Maybe humans are just bad at math," said with a small smile. Did not smile back, but something in her eyes softened. "Perhaps," she said, "or perhaps you understand something my people have forgotten." As the days passed, changed more and more. She was stronger now, much stronger. She could lift things that used to require two people. She could run without getting tired. Small cuts healed in minutes instead of hours. But the biggest change was inside her mind. She began to feel things, emotions that were not her own. At first she thought she was going crazy. Then she realized the truth. The emotions belonged to. When he was happy, she felt a warm glow in her chest. When he was worried, she felt a tightness in her stomach. When he thought about his home on Earth, she saw flashes of blue skies and green trees, images she had never seen before. The blood had connected them. Somehow, some way they were linked. Felt it too. He began to understand in ways that words could not explain. He felt the weight she carried, the pressure of being an heir, the loneliness of being royal. Everyone wanted something from her. No one saw her as just a person. No one except him. "We are bonded," told him one night. "My healers do not understand it. They say it should not be possible, but here we are." "Is that a bad thing?" asked. "I do not know," admitted. "My people will fear it. They will think you have corrupted me, poisoned my mind as well as my body." "Have I?" Was quiet for a long moment, then she shook her head. "No, you have opened my mind. I feel more alive than ever before. I see the galaxy differently now. I see possibilities I never saw before." The ship arrived at the Ascendancy. It was a planet of white cities and silver towers, beautiful in a cold and perfect way. Millions of lived there, all of them pale and graceful and ancient. Was taken to a grand hall. Walked beside him, no longer weak, her steps strong and confident. The ruling council waited for them. 12 old aliens in robes of different colors, each one more powerful than the last. They looked at with worry in their eyes. "Heir," the eldest counselor said, "we have heard reports about your condition, reports that concern us greatly." "My condition is excellent," said, "better than it has ever been." "You carry human blood inside you, human contamination. This is unprecedented. This is dangerous." "It is neither," said, "it is a gift." The council murmured among themselves. Some looked angry, some looked afraid, a few looked curious. "The human must be studied," another counselor said. "His species may pose a threat to our kind. If their blood can change us, who knows what else they can do?" "He is not a threat," said. "He is my savior, and he will be treated with respect." "With respect," an old counselor laughed. "He is an alien, a primitive from a young world. His people have barely left their own system. They are children compared to us." Felt anger rise in his chest. He was tired of being talked about like he was not there. He stepped forward. "Maybe we are young," he said. "Maybe we are primitive, but I saved your princess when none of you could. I gave her something that made her stronger, so maybe being young and primitive isn't so bad." The council went silent. No one had ever spoken to them like that. looked at with surprise and something like admiration. Then she turned back to the council. "This discussion is not over," she said, "but I will not let you harm this man. He is under my protection, and one day you will understand why that matters." She took his hand and led him out of the hall. Behind them, the council began to argue. Some wanted the human killed, some wanted him studied, some wanted to know more about his strange species, but did not care what they wanted. She had felt something in that moment, something through the bond she shared with. Hope, pure and simple hope. A feeling her ancient people had forgotten long ago. Weeks turned into months, remained on the ascendancy, living in a small but comfortable room in the royal palace. He was not allowed to leave the planet. He was not allowed to contact his ship, but he was not treated badly, made sure of that. She visited him every day. Sometimes they talked for hours. Sometimes they just sat together in silence, feeling each other's presence through the strange bond they shared. Learned about They were an old species, far older than humans. They had built an empire across thousands of star systems. They had conquered dozens of other races. They had technology that seemed like magic to human eyes. But they were also tired, slow, stuck in their ways. "We stopped growing long ago," told him one evening. They were sitting in a garden filled with silver flowers that glowed in the moonlight. "My people believe we have reached the peak of evolution. There is nothing left to improve, nothing left to discover." "That sounds boring," said. "It is," admitted, "but no one says it out loud. To suggest that we are not perfect is considered rude, even dangerous." "Then why are you telling me?" Looked at him with those violet and gold eyes. "Because you already know. You can feel it through our bond, my doubts, my frustrations. There is no point hiding from someone who can see inside your heart." She was right, could feel her emotions as clearly as his own, the anger she felt toward the council, the sadness she carried from losing her attendance in the crash, the fear of what she was becoming, but also the excitement, the thrill of being something new. "You're not just any more," said. "You're something else, something that's never existed before." "Does that frighten you?" "No," said honestly. "I think it's amazing." Smiled. It was a rare expression on her face. Her people did not smile often. They considered it too emotional, too primitive. But around, she found herself doing it more and more. The council, however, did not share her happiness. Every week they called her to their chamber. Every week they asked the same questions. How was she feeling? What changes was she experiencing? What did she remember about the human blood? At first answered truthfully. She told them about her increased strength, her faster healing, her improved senses. She thought they would be pleased. Instead, they grew more worried. "You are no longer pure," Counselor said during one meeting. He was the oldest member of the council, a male with gray skin and eyes like black ice. "Human contamination has altered your fundamental biology. Some say you are no longer fit to inherit the throne." "Some say," repeated, "or you say, Counselor." His face did not change. "The succession laws are clear. The heir must be of pure blood. You no longer meet that requirement." "My blood saved my life," said. "It made me stronger, better. If that is contamination, then perhaps contamination is not so bad." The council murmured. This was dangerous talk, was questioning traditions that had existed for thousands of years. But not everyone disagreed with her. Counselor Myra, a younger female with kind eyes, spoke up. "Perhaps we should not be so quick to judge," she said. "The princess has survived something that should have killed her. Her recovery defies all medical knowledge. Maybe this is not contamination. Maybe this is evolution." "Evolution," laughed coldly. We do not need to evolve. We are already perfect." "Are we?" Myra asked. "Our population has been declining for centuries. Our birth rates are falling. Our young people are bored and restless. Perhaps perfection is not as perfect as we believe." The argument continued for hours. Listen, but her mind wandered. Through the bond she could feel in his room, reading one of the history books she had given him. He was confused by politics. Too many rules, too much ceremony. Why did everything have to be so complicated? She smiled again. She could not help it. That night she made a decision. She went to his room after midnight. The guards let her pass. They were loyal to her even if the council was not. "I need to show you something," she said. She led him through secret passages, down into the depths of the palace. They passed through doors that had not been opened in centuries. Finally, they reached a vast underground chamber. Inside was a library, but not just any library. This was the Archive of Origins, the oldest collection of knowledge in the Ascendancy. Books and scrolls and data crystals filled the room, stretching up toward a ceiling so high it disappeared in darkness. "This is our true history," said, "not the version they teach in schools, the real story of how my people became what we are." She pulled out an ancient scroll and unrolled it carefully. The writing was in an old form but she translated for. "Long ago my people were different. We were not pale and calm and logical. We were wild, passionate. We fought and loved and lived with fire in our hearts." "What happened?" asked. "We decided that emotions were weaknesses. We edited our own genetics to remove them. We made ourselves calm, rational, perfect." Put down the scroll. "We thought we were making ourselves better. Instead, we made ourselves less." Understood now. He understood why it was changing. The human blood was not contaminating her. It was waking up something that had been sleeping inside her species for thousands of years. The passion, the fire, the will to survive and grow and become more. "You're not becoming human," he said. "You're becoming what we're meant to be." Nodded, tears formed in her eyes. Another emotion her people had forgotten. "The council fears what I represent," she said. "If others learn the truth, if they realize what we gave up, everything will change. The ascendancy as we know it will collapse." "Is that a bad thing?" Was quiet for a long moment, then she shook her head. "No," she said. "I think it might be the best thing that ever happened to us." The next morning the council called an emergency meeting. Counselor had a proposal. The human must be studied. His blood must be analyzed. And then, once they understood the threat, he must be eliminated. Stood before them, her back straight, her eyes burning with that new fire. "You will not touch him," she said. "This is not your decision," replied. "The council rules the ascendancy, not you, not yet." "Then perhaps it is time for that to change." The words hung in the air like thunder, had just challenged the council's authority. She had just taken the first step toward revolution. Through the bond felt her fear, but also her determination. She was not going to let them hurt him. She was not going to let them stop her. She was going to fight for the future she believed in. And he was going to stand beside her, no matter what. The council chamber fell silent after spoke. No one had ever challenged their authority so openly. For 1,000 years the council had ruled without question. Their word was law. Their decisions were final. But was no longer afraid of them. Counselor rose from his seat. His old face was twisted with anger. "You dare to threaten this council. You, a contaminated princess with alien blood in your veins." "I dare because I must," said. "You sit in this chamber year after year making decisions that affect billions of lives. But when was the last time any of you actually lived? When was the last time you felt passion, fear, joy?" The council members looked at each other. They did not have answers. "You removed those things from our species," continued. "You thought emotions were weaknesses. You thought calm logic was the path to greatness. But look at us now. Our empire is stagnating. Our people are dying slowly. We have all the power in the galaxy and we are using it to stand still." "Pretty words," said, "but words change nothing. You are unfit to rule. The human has poisoned your mind." Then let me prove otherwise, stepped forward. I invoke the right of demonstration. A gasp went through the chamber. The right of demonstration was an ancient tradition, almost forgotten. It allowed anyone to prove their fitness through combat. If won, the council could not deny her claim to the throne. If she lost, her challenge would be dismissed forever. You cannot be serious, Counselor Myra said. She was sympathetic too, but this was madness. The right of demonstration requires you to face our finest warrior. Commander has never been defeated. He has killed dozens of challengers. Then he will be a worthy test, said. Smiled, it was a cold, cruel expression. Very well, Princess. If you wish to die, we will not stop you. Bring Commander. The guards left to fetch the warrior. Watching from the side of the chamber, felt panic rise in his chest. Through the bond he sent his fear to, she could not do this. She would be killed. But she sent back calm confidence. Trust me, she seemed to say, I know what I am now. Commander entered the chamber. He was massive almost as tall as a human but twice as wide. His body was covered in scars from countless battles. His eyes were empty of emotion, just cold efficiency. Your Highness, he said, his voice flat, I take no pleasure in this, but I will do my duty. I expect nothing less, replied. They moved to the center of the chamber. The council members pulled back their chairs, creating a circle of open space. This was the arena. There were no weapons. The right of demonstration was fought with bare hands. Attacked first. He moved fast, faster than anything that size should move. His fist shot towards face like a missile. She caught it. The sound of impact echoed through the chamber. Eyes went wide. No one had ever caught his punch before. No one had ever been fast enough. Smiled, my turn. She twisted his arm and threw him across the room, crashed into the far wall, cracking the ancient stone. He fell to the floor, stunned but not finished. He pushed himself up and charged again. What followed was not a fight, it was a revelation. Moved like nothing they had ever seen. She was faster than, stronger than. Every blow he threw, she dodged or blocked. Every opening he left, she exploited. She hit him in the chest, the face, the legs. She knocked him down again and again. But she did not kill him. She did not even seriously hurt him. She was showing restraint, control. She was proving that she could destroy him but choosing not to. Finally could not get up anymore. He lay on the floor, breathing hard, his body covered in bruises. Stood over him, not even tired. Yield, she said. I yield, whispered, Your Highness. The chamber was absolutely silent. The council members stared at like they were seeing a ghost. This was impossible. This was against everything they knew about their own biology. Turned to face them. You look at me and see contamination, she said. But what you should see is potential. Human blood did not poison me. It woke me up. It brought back the fire that our ancestors removed from our genetics. The strength, the passion, the will to survive. She walked among them, meeting each council member's eyes. Humans are not our enemies. They are not primitives to be studied or threats to be eliminated. They are something we have forgotten how to be. They are alive, truly alive. They feel everything deeply. They love and hate and hope and dream. They fight against impossible odds because they refuse to give up. She stopped in front of. The old counselor tried to maintain his cold expression, but there was fear in his eyes now. This man, pointed to, gave me his blood without knowing if it would kill us both. He acted not from logic but from compassion, from hope. He saw a stranger dying and decided that trying to help was worth any risk. She let that sink in. When was the last time any of us did something like that? When was the last time we took a risk? When was the last time we hoped for something better? No one answered, because no one could remember. Humanity is not a threat to be contained, said. They are the spark this stagnant galaxy needs. Their biology, their spirit, their refusal to accept limitations. These are gifts, and I am proof of what happens when we stop being afraid of them." Counselor Myra stood up. Her eyes were shining with something that might have been tears. "I believe her," she said. "I believe the princess speaks the truth. We have been standing still for too long. Perhaps it is time to move forward again." Other council members began to nod. Not all of them, still looked angry, and a few others shared his fear, but the tide was turning. Watched from the side of the room, he could feel some motions through their bond: relief, hope, and something else, something warm and bright that he did not have a name for. She had done it. She had faced her enemies and won, not with violence but with truth, with the power of what she had become. And she had done it for him, for his people, for the future they could build together. When the meeting ended, came to him. She was tired now, the battle having taken more from her than she showed, but she was smiling. "That was amazing," said. "That was necessary," she replied. "But we are not finished yet. The council is divided. Some will accept change. Others will fight against it. There are hard days ahead." "I know," said, "but whatever happens, you won't face it alone." Took his hand. Her skin was warm now, warmer than any should be, human warm. "No," she said, "I will not, and neither will you." Outside the palace, news of the princess's demonstration was spreading across the planet. Recordings had been made. Messages were being sent. For the first time in centuries, they were talking about something new. Change was coming to the ascendancy. And it had started with a drop of human blood. The weeks after's demonstration were chaos. The ascendancy had not experienced anything like this in 1,000 years. People argued in the streets. Politicians gave speeches. Some called a hero. Others called her a traitor who had been corrupted by alien influence. Counselor and his supporters refused to accept defeat. They gathered their allies and began planning to remove from the succession by force. If she would not step aside willingly, they would make her step aside. But they had underestimated something important. They had underestimated hope. Reports started coming in from across ascendancy space. Others had received human blood in medical emergencies. A scientist on a research station had been saved by a human doctor after an accident. A soldier had been given a transfusion during a battle far from home. A child with a rare blood disease had been treated by a human medical team when medicine failed. All of them had changed. All of them had gotten stronger, faster, more alive. The evidence was impossible to ignore. Human blood was not poison. It was medicine. It was evolution. It was everything the ascendancy had forgotten they could be. Counselor Myra brought the reports to the full council. She spread them across the table like evidence in a trial. 17 confirmed cases, she said. 17 who survived because of human blood, all of them showing the same improvements as the princess. Enhanced strength, faster healing, increased emotional capacity. Looked at the reports with disgust. This proves nothing. These are isolated incidents, accidents. "These are the future," Myra replied. "We can either accept it or be left behind." The debate continued for days. But slowly, one by one, the council members began to change their minds. Not because they suddenly loved humans. Not because they believed in its vision. But because they could see the truth in front of them. The ascendancy was dying. Slowly but surely, their ancient civilization was fading away. Their population was shrinking. Their technology was stagnating. Their young people had nothing to believe in. Humans offered something different, something new. Finally, the vote was called. 12 council members. A simple majority was needed. The result was 7-5. His position as heir was confirmed. And more importantly, the council agreed to open formal negotiations with humanity. Walked out of the chamber without a word. His supporters followed him. They would cause problems later, knew. People like that did not give up easily. But for now, the victory belonged to humanity. Sent diplomats. Real diplomats this time, not just a single medic on an exploration ship. They arrived in ships that looked primitive next to technology, but they walked into the negotiations with confidence. Watched from side as the treaty was written, the humans were offered something no young species had ever received: full partnership in the ascendancy, not as subjects, not as servants, as equals. Some were angry about this. How could primitive humans be considered equal to a civilization a million years old? But the answer was simple. Humans had something they needed, not just their blood but their spirit, their willingness to try new things, their refusal to accept that anything was impossible. The treaty signing ceremony was held in the great plaza at the center of the capital city. Millions of watched on screens across the planet. Billions more watched from other worlds. This was history being made. The human ambassador was a woman named Wei. She was small and gray-haired and completely unafraid of the tall aliens around her. She signed her name on the document with a steady hand. "On behalf of humanity," she said, "we accept this partnership. We offer our friendship, our knowledge, and our hope for a better future. Together, our peoples can achieve things that neither could achieve alone." Sign next. Her signature was elegant, flowing, unlike anything I would have written before the change. "On behalf of the Ascendancy," she said, "we welcome humanity to our family of worlds. We have been alone for too long. We have been afraid for too long. Today we choose a different path. Today we choose to grow." The crowd cheered, not the polite, quiet approval that usually showed. Real cheers, loud and emotional and alive. The change was already spreading. Just knowing what was possible was waking something up in her people. That night there was a celebration in the palace. Music and food and dancing. Things that had not done in centuries. Things that humans did all the time. Found himself on a balcony, looking out at the silver city under the stars. He was tired but happy. His people had a future now. A future among the stars, as partners of the greatest civilization in the galaxy. Joined him. She was wearing a dress of gold and white, beautiful in a way that was both alien and familiar. Her violet and gold eyes reflected the starlight. "You saved my life," she said. "You saved my species," he replied. She smiled. That was still strange to see on a face, but on her it looked right. "Perhaps we saved each other." She took his hand. Red blood and silver beating together in two connected hearts. The bond between them hummed with warmth. "What happens now?" asked. "Everything," said. "We will face challenges, and his followers will not stop fighting. Some humans will fear us just as some fear them. There will be misunderstandings and conflicts and hard choices." "That sounds difficult." "It does," she agreed. "But we will face it together, human and side by side." She looked up at the stars. "My people ruled this galaxy for 1,000,000 years. We thought we had seen everything, done everything, but we were wrong. The universe is bigger than we imagined. There is so much more to discover, so much more to become." Followed her gaze. Out there among those distant stars were worlds he had never dreamed of, adventures he could not imagine, a future that was just beginning. "I came here to save one person," he said. "I never expected any of this." "That is what makes you human," said. "You act without calculation, you hope without reason, you love without limit." She turned to face him. "My people thought those things were weaknesses. We were wrong. They are your greatest strengths." She leaned in and kissed him. It was soft and warm and full of promise. Behind them, the celebration continued. Humans and dancing together, laughing together, learning about each other. Two species that should have been enemies, finding something better instead. Had broken every protocol in the book when he gave his blood to a dying alien princess. He had expected to be punished for it. Instead, he had changed the galaxy. Sometimes the craziest choices lead to the best outcomes. Sometimes hope is stronger than fear. Sometimes a single act of compassion can shift the course of history. The human and the princess stood together on the balcony, hands linked, hearts connected. They did not know what the future would bring, but they knew they would face it together. And that was enough. Far across the galaxy, on a small blue planet called Earth, people looked up at the stars with new eyes. They were not alone anymore. They had a place among the great civilizations of the universe. All because one medic refused to let a stranger die. The outcome had astonished everyone. But it was only the beginning.